Yo, what is up, guys? We're back with a new what if, and this what if is what if Naruto was the lost reincarnation. It's not really like a new what if, it's like the finale part, but it's just gonna be a long part, so I haven't done this series in a while, so uh, yeah, cut me some slack. I had to rewatch my own video just to find out where I left off. That's just how bad I forgot about it. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into the what if. We're back with this what if where after Naruto and Team 7 reunite and they actually walk towards Tsunade's office, Tsunade tells them that they'll be finding somebody, and that Naruto is excluded from this since number one, he is Jonin and everyone knows his strength. They don't need to see how much more strength he gotten. They already understand. He's already like the assistant Jonin pretty much of the team already, like the medic. Sakura would say something like, "I thought I was the medic." Um, Naruto pretty much tells Sakura that yeah, you could be the medic, you are the medic, but I'm just like the main medic. You're like the side, the side hoe. I mean, not the side medic, of course. I don't mean it like that. But after this, they would basically start their team, like the bell test, with Naruto watching in the trees while Sasuke and Sakura fight Kakashi. Now, when Kakashi says start, Sasuke would straight up just make maybe 5, 6 shadow clones, so he gives himself time to go sage mode. Sasuke would then get into his meditating position and he would go snake sage mode. After this, Sasuke's abilities would be powered up by 10 times 10. Now, after this, Sasuke would awaken his three-tone Sharingan. Not he already has the Mangekyo, but he doesn't want to go too hard on Kakashi. Uh, Sasuke would pretty much charge towards Kakashi and tell Sakura, like go. After this, Sakura pretty much remembered the plan that Sasuke told her about the other day. Sakura would pretty much pretty go underground and pretty much wait there while Sasuke charges towards Kakashi and proceeds to get in a taijutsu battle with him. Now, while Kakashi and Sasuke are having a taijutsu battle, Sakura is climbing her way or building her way, I don't know, punching her way underground so she can get a good advantage on Kakashi. Now, Kakashi, while fighting Sasuke, is like, first lesson, taijutsu. I know what taijutsu is, never mind. Kakashi would then raise up his headband and get ready to fight. He would then remember his times of him copying guys like taijutsu styles, and he'd start using them against Sasuke. Sasuke would pretty much have to pull out his taijutsu, like the snake style of taijutsu, since for around a month he was literally in the Ryuchi cave, and he learned from the snake sage itself. I don't really know the gender, so it's never been stated, so it's just call them a snake. After this, Sasuke would pretty much start to be evenly powered when it comes to fighting Kakashi, and he'd pretty much get sick of this and start. He would like yell out, "Sakura, it's time!" After this, Sakura would pretty much dive up from underground and uppercut Kakashi, sending him flying. When this would happen, Kakashi would then pretty much turn into a log. After this, Sasuke would know that he had the Sharingan open. He had the Sharingan on. He could have easily seen if Kakashi was a clone. This was really confusing, but they didn't really have time to worry about that. After this, Kakashi would pretty much retreat towards the forest, and Naruto, Tsunade, and Jiraiya would be watching, and they'd be pretty impressed by the development of the team so far. Now we go to the next section of Sasuke and Sakura's point of view. Now, Sasuke and Sakura are running through the forest trying to find Kakashi, with Sasuke using one of these snakes' ability to basically track him down. Like, he learned a technique in his days, in his 3-year time skip for the training arc to basically learn how to track people. This might be useful, how, he could track Itachi, something like that, one day. After this, Naruto would be watching and, he'd be impressed by Sasuke learning Anbu style tracking techniques, But he knows this wouldn't work on people like Itachi because Itachi was in the Anbu himself. He knows these tactics, and how do you think he was on the run from the Anbu themselves for so long? It's because he literally knew a way how to counter them. Now, Sasuke would find Kakashi pretty quickly, and Kakashi would say, second lesson, ninjutsu. After this, he'd go through like 100 hand seals in like 5 seconds. It'd be like fire style, majestic destroyer flame. After this, a huge huge ball of flames would come out of Kakashi's mouth. Oh, that sounds so wrong. Okay, just a huge amount of flames would come from Kakashi's mouth, and it would be sent towards Sasuke and Sakura. Sakura would go through some hand signs, be like, water style ninja art, water style water wall. Now, since they were literally over a river, water would literally come from the river and shoot out, basically blocking the fire style. Now, after this, Sasuke would use wind style great breakthrough, remembering one of the techniques he copied from Naruto, or Naruto let him copy the technique. After this, the water would become more stronger, and that would completely erase the fire. Now, Kakashi would pretty much just go in a whole ninjutsu battle using the Raikiri, using like Mud Wall, anything he could pull out. While Sasuke and Sakura are still trying to, still equal in power, they would still keep up with Kakashi. Since, remember, Sasuke has the Mangekyo, he has Snake Sage mode, he has the Raikiri. He's pretty set, and Sakura literally has her adult power level. And adult Sakura is pretty powerful. After this, Sakura pretty much go into a meditative pose because this is the only way she could use this technique. And a mark would start to form on her head, and it would spread throughout her entire body. Basically, this would be the 100 healings. This 100 healing tattoo would cover her whole body, and she would start to charge towards Kakashi. Kakashi, knowing that she could heal from this, would charge a Raikiri and try to slam it through her lung. After this, she'd pretty much dodge out the way, and Sasuke would, she would basically Sasuke would pretty much charge towards Kakashi, and Kakashi would kind of like put his arms together in like an X formation, basically blocking it. After this, Sasuke would pretty much throw Sakura by her feet, and Sakura would pretty much be diving towards Kakashi, going in for a punch. Now, Kakashi would try to block it, put like chakra into his arms, kind of like Armament Hockey, to try to block this attack. But Sakura would infuse chakra into her fist, and she would punch Kakashi. And Kakashi blocking this would be sent flying, but it wouldn't be as powerful since he did put chakra into his arms. He'd be sent sliding against the riverside, and Sasuke and Sakura would pretty much see Kakashi basically use the third lesson, Genjutsu. Now, in this timeline, Kakashi would try to use the Sharingan on Sakura, put her in a Genjutsu, wouldn't work. Now, Kakashi would then turn into a log, and they'd go find him in the forest. Sakura and Sasuke would talk about a plan about to try to spoil the Jiraiya's book, the new one that just came out. It wasn't like Kakashi got an early book of it. They would then come out the forest and what happens in Makeout Paradise is, and then Kakashi would have to close his eyes, basically putting himself at a disadvantage, and then Sasuke would pretty much knock him out while they take the bells, basically marking the end of the bell test. After this, Naruto would walk up to Sasuke and Sakura and pretty much high-five them, basically saying, Sasuke-san, good job. Sakura-san, good job. It was pretty cringy, but hey, don't come after me in the comments. Not just kidding. After this would pretty much mark the end of the bell test for Team 7, or Naruto, basically everyone but Naruto, like Sasuke and Sakura. After this, they would pretty much, Tsunade would be sitting by the tree until a eagle would land on her shoulder. After this, Tsunade would see a letter. She would open the letter and see, like, the first 3 letters would be SOS. And then she'd read the letter saying that the Sand Village need help, and the Akatsuki are attacking, and they need help. After this, Tsunade would start to yell, basically saying that they need to head towards the Kasekage village, or Team 7. After this, the next morning, Team 7 and Team 10, or Guy's team, would pretty much head towards the Sand Village, starting the Kazekage rescue arc. Now, Team 7 would pretty much be on their way there, walking, talking, and trying to get there as fast as possible so they can save Gaara. Now, if you're wondering why doesn't Naruto just use some teleportation technique like I did in my first two parts, it's just because I don't want him to. I need more dialogue, pretty much. After this, Naruto and the rest of Team 7 would be walking or running until they see none other than Uchiha Itachi. After this, Sasuke would say that he can handle this. He would then go awaken his Mangekyo, or put on his Mangekyo, and Itachi wouldn't be surprised. Number one, he wouldn't be surprised, and he already seen his Mangekyo when the Akatsuki were trying to kidnap Naruto, or Itachi and Kisame. After this, Sasuke would say, aren't you gonna awaken yours? Or have you really gone that blind using the Sharingan? And then Sasuke would pretty much figure out that Itachi's only a clone, but he still wants to take down Itachi. He has to. After this, Sasuke would keep this to his mind, and he basically summoned put a little Susanoo, summon a full body Susanoo, and he would send an arrow at Itachi. Now, turns out that for some reason, Sasuke was in the Genjutsu the whole time, and he was just shooting an arrow at nothing. And now Sasuke would break out the Genjutsu, realizing it was a Genjutsu, and Sasuke and Itachi would actually start fighting. They started getting into a taijutsu battle, and Kakashi would say, let us help you. Kakashi and Itachi would have a similar taijutsu battle, similar to canon. I literally just said similar too many times. Catch me in fork. Nah, just kidding. After this, Kakashi would pretty much hold Itachi in place while he said, now Naruto. Naruto would then come out of the bushes and then pretty much use amputate, basically slashing Itachi in half, basically destroying the clone. After this, Itachi, before he would basically disperse, would say that they have all grown strong, and that the Akatsuki would come after them soon. One way or another, the Nine Tails will be theirs. Now I'm talking this slow dialogue because I am a dumbass. Now back to the what if. Team 7 pretty much head towards the Sand Village. They would make it there around the day, and Team Guy would have a similar battle with Kisame, with Guy using the 5th, or I think it's the 7th gate, the 6th, 5th gate, maybe it's the 6th gate. After this, Team 3 would pretty much have a little difficulty fighting Kisame, but after getting in the water prison jutsu, but they'd figure out with some teamwork that after a while they pretty much break out. Now, when this would happen, they would also head towards the Sand Village, but not in the Sand Village itself, but around it. Team 7 would walk into the Sand Village, and they'd quickly welcome them since it is an SOS. They would head in, and Chio would think that Kakashi is Sakamo, the White Fang of the Leaf, saying something like, you killed my parents, or you killed my son and daughter. After this, Kakashi would be kind of confused since he doesn't remember killing that old lady's, kids. After this, Naruto would grab her wrist and basically say, yo, he's not the White Fang of the Leaf, calm down, old lady. He would basically say in a law voice, how Law is always saying damn it, Luffy, or you're kind of stupid, Luffy, or something like that. Or that's what he says. He always really says that, since Luffy's impatient, really. So Law's patience and Luffy's impatience don't really have a good compatibility. Not that I'm actually thinking like that. After this, Law would walk over to Kankuro and use a room to basically, use an ability to make Law numb. Now, Sakura would basically, Naruto would tell Sakura, aren't you gonna, use your ability now? Come on, you gotta heal him. You said you're the healer. Come on, prove it to me. After this, she would then use her inner Sakura and basically start healing Kankuro. Instead of her healing Kankuro in a day, it'd be around maybe 2 hours after making the antidote. When this would happen, they'd heal Kankuro and then they rest for maybe the night before leaving the next morning. Naruto would put on the drip or the law drip before running out with his team. Now they'd be running a little bit. It would take them around a day to get to the kind of like the hideout, using back tracing Gaara's chakra. Now once they'd reach there, they'd open the wall to see Gaara basically dead, or look like he's dead. Now Naruto in this time wouldn't get too angry, but he'd still be angry. He's dead now. What will they do? First they have to retrieve his body. Now, when they'd go to retrieve his body, they see none other than Deidara try to on an explosion bird trying to get out of there. Sasuke and Kakashi in this time would actually go there, and this would pretty much mean that Deidara is gonna get folded a little earlier, since Sasuke has lightning and Kakashi has lightning, which can literally cancel out Deidara's explosions. After this, Sakura, Chiyo, and Naruto would fight Sasori. I know Sasori's gonna get a new hole ripped open, pretty much. He's just getting jumped. Chiyo wouldn't need to control Sakura in this timeline, but she will pretty much help by summoning as much puppets as she can. Naruto would try to help them by using rooms to give them openings, but he wouldn't really want to interfere since this is Chiyo's battle, or Sakura and Chiyo's battle. After this, Sakura and Chiyo would pretty much win the same way of basically Sasori's parents stabbing them through the heart. Now after this, Sasori would give up the information saying that Orochimaru is actually gonna meet them, or not meet. He was supposed to meet Orochimaru at the bridge in around 2 weeks. Or he was, Naruto would be confused since he knows he actually killed Orochimaru, but maybe somehow he survived. When this would happen, Team 7, or not Team 7, but Sakura, Naruto, and Chiyo would finish their battle in the cave, and they would head towards Kakashi to see none other than basically Sasuke's hand through Deidara's heart, basically ending Deidara's life. Now this would be the end for Deidara, and Chiyo would still go to that open field where Chiyo would use the Sand Village's reanimation jutsu to revive Gaara. And Gaara in this time will be a little weakened, just like Kanon, because he doesn't have Shukaku anymore, which is unfortunate. After this, Naruto and Gaara would shake hands, and Team 7 and Team 3 would head back to the village after Lady Chiyo's funeral. Once they make it to the village, Naruto would pretty much train on this new technique he's learning. Not he's learning, but he's really enhancing it, the Gamma Knife. Now, the Gamma Knife wasn't really perfected, so, you don't see me, Naruto spamming it. He only used it twice. He wants to perfect it. Not gonna lie, I was talking to Rogue earlier in the VC, and he said something about that, he shouldn't, I shouldn't really give Naruto all his abilities at the start. So I'm gonna have to try it where either I give him all his abilities, they're perfected, he gets he gets humbled, then he trains again, from the setback, and then he, comes back stronger, which is basically what I'm doing here. After this, Team 7 would head back to the village, and Sakura would go back to the hospital or work there, or shifts there. Sasuke would basically train, I guess, and chill, and Asuma and Team 10 would still be on that mission where Asuma dies, unfortunately, and Kurenai would have to quit being a Jonin, or a ninja, unfortunately, as well. I am saying unfortunately a lot. That's my favorite word now because I say it so much. Now, after this, Naruto, Sasuke would start their training, and Sakura would give them food pills, something like that, being Sakura. And Kakashi and Yamato would pretty much be overseeing their training. Naruto would be learning Gamma Knife. Sasuke would be learning, enhancing the Kirin. Instead of just it being Kirin, he can add some Amaterasu, use Sage Mode Chakra on it. Trying to be a little creative with the Kirin. And also learning other lightning techniques like Chidori Stream, he would learn how to throw lightning, which is honestly that's pretty cool though. Kind of like the Flash, he runs around in a circle gathering up speed, and then he releases it all in one arc of lightning, or one attack. Now Sasuke wouldn't really learn this, but he just learned a technique to throw lightning. After the 2 weeks of training, they would Kakashi, Shikamaru, and Choji. Also, Sasuke would come along. They would also head towards that mission where they'd find, they would go after Kakazu and Hidan. They basically want some revenge, in smaller words. After this, they'd be on their mission, and Kakazu would ambush them, and Shikamaru would fight Hidan, with it usually ending similar to canon, with Hidan basically getting his old body exploded and being buried alive. After this would happen, Kakazu, Kakashi, and Choji would have a similar battle, but in this timeline, Sasuke would give them a little support, so Naruto and Yamato would still pull up, but it would be a little less challenging. Now, in this timeline, Sasuke would actually get a little folded. He would get folded, not a little folded. He would get folded. He would kind of be like, if you saw Kakashi, his whole Jonin outfit was ripped. And Sasuke is just a little stronger, so he couldn't really be. He could, let's just say, Kakashi got 1 heart, Sasuke got 2. So now Kakazu would pretty much fuse with his other 2 hearts, and then they would, Sasuke and Kakashi would get folded from overuse of their energy because they already took 3 hearts together. Naruto and Yamato would pull up, and Naruto would use his new technique. He would then throw a stone towards Kakazu. Kakazu, not knowing what this is, would just let it go past him. It would kind of be a little behind him for Naruto to use shambles, basically teleporting or switching places with the stone, and Naruto would stab Kakazu through the heart, and then he would basically use Gamma Knife, or the new perfected Gamma Knife, where instead of it just being only internal wounds, it is now external wounds, basically making it where he took off all the rest of the hearts of Kakazu, basically killing Kakazu. After this, they'd walk through the forest, and they would see Shikamaru walking back, and Naruto would say, did you finish it? Shikamaru would then pull out a lighter, saying that he did, basically showing that he actually used the lighter, and, they heard a big explosion, so Shikamaru says, I dealt with Hidan. After this, that would be the wrap-up of Kakazu and Hidan, and for the next week, they'd wait until the mission where they'd head towards the bridge. Now, instead of Yamato instead of Yamato being the mission leader, it would be Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would actually head towards the bridge in this timeline. They would then, after a long, grueling 3-day trip, would make it to the bridge. Naruto would then disguise himself as Sasori, and being able to actually keep up the disguise. Sasori would ask information about Itachi, since he knows that Sasuke would want this, and this would be easy information for Kabuto to give and Orochimaru. After this, he gave him the information before Kabuto would slice the clone. After this, the clone would disperse, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would ambush them. Naruto would fight Orochimaru, while Sasuke and Sakura would fight Kabuto. Kabuto, let's not underestimate him. He's pretty strong. He would pretty much be fighting Sakura, and Sasuke would jump in every now and then, basically getting good knocks off on Kabuto. Naruto would be facing off Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would be mad from the last time. Literally, Naruto destroyed all his organs, his internal organs, and literally almost killed him. Like, Kabuto had to have made him where he switched bodies and used the reanimation jutsu. After this, Naruto would be clashing swords, Kusanagi blade to Law's blade, or I think the blade's name is Kiko. After this, Law's blade, or Naruto's blade, and the Kusanagi would be clashing over and over. It'd be, in a great battle of swordsmanship, or not swordsmanship, but using the sword. After this, they'd be getting, they'd be pretty even until Naruto used electric shock, basically kind of cutting Orochimaru to pieces. Now, from Orochimaru's tiny head, he would spit out yet again another body. Naruto would say that he's actually sick of that ability, before he literally use counter shock, basically shocking Orochimaru to death. But don't worry, Orochimaru is so annoying that he'll be back anyway. Sasuke would then finish punching Kabuto, like sending him, punching him in the face, sending him flying. After this, Kabuto and Orochimaru would have to yet again retreat. Now, don't worry, Orochimaru and Kabuto would still come back and they'd still have their canon timeline. Now, this is where we end this section of the bridge arc. Now we're back with the new part, or the new section of What If Naruto Was Lost Reincarnation. Now, in this section, we'll be going over the Sasuke versus Itachi and Jiraiya dying. Now, Sasuke would be walking around the village, and he'd see the crow land on his shoulder. The crow would pretty much put him in a genjutsu, and the genjutsu would be Itachi sitting at the Uchiha clan house, or one of the clan outposts outside the village, but still in the land of fire. Sasuke would pretty much see this as a challenge and realize he has to go fight Itachi, or kill him, like canon, pretty much. After this, Naruto, or Sasuke, my bad there, would walk over to Naruto's house. He would then knock on his house, and Naruto would be like, well, what do you want? It's 3 a.m. Don't even comment about like the 3 a.m. challenges. I don't even want to see that. If I see that, though, I'm gonna start punching the air. After this, back to the what if. Sasuke would tell him that he has to go fight Itachi. This was their agreement. Naruto would then release a sigh, and he'd say, "Alright, fine. Give me a second." He would then tell Sasuke to come in, and he would go in his room. He would go in his room and basically pack his bags. Naruto and Sasuke would pretty much walk out the village, but right when they're walking out the village, Kakashi would say, "Where are you going on this? I don't think this could be counted as a late night stroll, would it?" After this, Sasuke would put Kakashi into a genjutsu with his Mangekyo, kind of like a Tsukiyomi, but he doesn't want to put Kakashi in a coma. After this, Kakashi would be knocked out, and Naruto and Sasuke would apologize, but they have to do this. Naruto and Sasuke would head out to the clan house, or the head, or wherever they're gonna meet Itachi. Now they'd make it there, and Itachi would be waiting for them. Say, "Hello, little brother." Or, yeah, I think that's a good wording there. It sounds kind of sus, but Sasuke would pretty much say, "Are we gonna do this?" Naruto would say, "I'll be watching. Good luck." After this, Itachi says, "Good, you came with me. You came back with those eyes. That's perfect. Just like I said. Maybe you might beat me." After this, Sasuke would unsheath his sword and says, "I will beat you." It would then go Snake Sage mode, and basically they'd start their taijutsu battle, basically throwing, they'd have their similar genjutsu battle, but Itachi wouldn't take out Sasuke's Sharingan in the genjutsu. They would just be fighting. After this, they'd realize they're both in genjutsu, and then they would cancel out the genjutsu with their Mangekyo. After this, they'd be back in the real world, and Kakashi and Naruto would wonder, were they fighting in genjutsu? Because they were just standing still the whole time. After this, Sasuke would pretty much shoot a fireball into the air, and he needs some moisture in the air to cause lightning to start to rain. After this, he would then head up to the roof, and Itachi would be confused on what he's doing, but Sasuke would pretty much activate his Mangekyo in Sage mode, and he would activate Kirin, and he'd say, "Kirin, be gone with the thunderclap," I think, or be gone with the thunder. After this, he'd put some Amaterasu in it before sending it straight at Itachi. Itachi would widen his eyes, but in this timeline, he isn't as blind, so he'd still use the full body Susanoo, and when when the smoke clears, some Susanoo fire would be on his Susanoo, but Itachi would easily use the Tusk Blade and seal it away. Now, after this, Sasuke would pretty much be weakened. Not weakened, but Sasuke, or Itachi would start walking over to him really slowly, and Sasuke, bro, I'm butchering so many words. Sasuke would be scared. Hey, he's gonna take my eyes. After this, Itachi would just tap his forehead, and then he'd pretty much die. He'd saying his usual dialogue of "I'm sorry, brother. This is the last time," or maybe next time, and then he would say, "I'm sorry, brother. This is the last time." Itachi would then die, and Kisame would pretty much head out, and none other than Obito would come out the Kamui dimension. Now, in this timeline of Obito just coming out, it'd be Obito and the rest of the Akatsuki, wanting to take out Naruto since he has been quite powerful, and they need to take him out and take the Nine Tails. After this, it'd be Naruto and a tired Sasuke versus the whole Akatsuki. Naruto would pretty much use some Nine Tails chakra and basically give Sasuke his replenish his energy, and Naruto would basically like somebody like one of the Pains would charge at Naruto, basically throwing a punch at him, but right before he would be sent back flying, and everyone was confused until they'd see like a black marker on, not a mark, but like a whole armor covering Naruto's chest, where one of the Pains tried to punch him there. This would be none other than Armin and Haki, since in this timeline Naruto does actually have Haki. He spent the whole 3 years training for it. After this, Naruto would pretty much use conquerors, like small conquerors, to show them the difference in power. After this, most of the Pains would be sent back, like flying, not flying, but like they would be knocked out for the count. It'd be the Tendo Pain, Obito, and Kisame. After this, I think I got that right with the Akatsuki members. Now, after this, Obito would fight. Obito and Nintendo Pain would fight. Obito and Nintendo Pain would fight Naruto. They'd be in a pretty deep battle, and Naruto would pretty much use his sword to try and cut through Obito, realizing that Obito actually has a similar ability, or can be used similarly. Would realize that he has like another dimension that's connected to this. Now, this is when Kakashi would pull up, and Naruto would tell Kakashi to use his Mangekyou. Now, Kakashi would actually use this, and Naruto would send his sword, like throw his sword at this. Kakashi would then Kamui this, and it would pretty much get Kamui'd directly at, after, like, when Naruto would go to punch Obito through the heart. Obito's heart would go into not his heart, but his chest area would go to the Kamui dimension. The sword would pretty much stab him in the heart, and Naruto would pretty much kind of like pick up the sword, since it's like a lot of space time phenomenons here. Basically, it'd stab Obito. The sword would go through Obito's heart, and Naruto would pick up the sword along with Obito's heart, since he does have the Obi no Mi. Now, Naruto would crush Obito's heart, and that would be the end of Obito. Sasuke would pretty much easily kill Kisame, sealing the Samihade. So maybe he could sell it back to the Mist Village for a hefty price. After this, the Tendo Pain would be easily put down by Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi, and the rescue team would be there, and they'd realize that the Akatsuki is finished. This would pretty much start the whole world peace thing, and Naruto would pretty much, everything with Naruto would be the canon. He would have Boruto, but in this timeline, Boruto would still be Boruto, but Naruto wouldn't be Hokage in this timeline, so he'd have more time to actually train Boruto, teaching him actually pretty good techniques, like Boruto would get a Haki, he would get Arminate, and he would have observation Haki. This would make Boruto even stronger, so when Boruto actually got the Karma Seal, he'd be way stronger than canon. Now Boruto will pretty much end like whatever Boruto ends like, because we don't even know how Boruto ends like. Now this will be the end of this series of What If Naruto Was Lost Reincarnation. Now I know this is pretty rushed, but hey, at least you got a long video from me, so that's pretty good. Now without further ado, peace.